Alex had just moved into the quiet suburban neighborhood, hoping for peace after months of hectic city life. He hadn't expected his first afternoon at home to turn into a nightmare. As he slowly turned the key in his garage, sunlight glinting off the polished Mustang he had cherished for years, he heard a piercing scream that made him freeze. Karen, the notorious HOA president, came charging down the driveway, her phone already to her ear. 911! He's stealing the car I just bought, she yelled, pointing at him as if he had committed a crime. Neighbors began peeking through curtains and across fences, whispering and pointing. Alex raised his hands, stunned. "This is my car!" he shouted, trying to reason, but Karen's fury drowned out his words. The line between civility and chaos in the neighborhood vanished in an instant. What had started as a peaceful afternoon had turned into a public spectacle. And Alex knew one thing. He had no choice but to fight back, legally and emotionally, against a neighbor who seemed determined to make his life miserable. Within minutes, sirens blared down the street and 2 police cars screeched to a halt in front of Alex's house. Karen waved frantically, still yelling into her phone, insisting he was a thief. Alex ran outside, trying to explain, but the crowd of neighbors had grown, curious faces peering from windows and lawns. The officers stepped out, hands hovering, over their belts, scanning the scene. "Sir, we got a call that you were stealing a vehicle," one officer said cautiously. Alex's heart pounded. "This is my car. I've owned it for years," he replied, frustration thick in his voice. Karen scoffed, pointing at the Mustang like she had a claim on it. "I just bought this. He's taking it from me," she screamed. The officers exchanged a tense glance, unsure whom to believe. Alex realized this was no ordinary HOA conflict. Karen was willing to manipulate law enforcement to get what she wanted. As the crowd murmured, some taking sides, Alex felt a mixture of anger and disbelief. He knew this would not end quickly. This was the beginning of a drawn-out battle, one that would test his patience, his nerves, and his sanity. Alex could feel the tension in the air thickening, each second stretching unbearably. Karen stood rigid, glaring daggers at him as if daring him to make a wrong move. The officers, still hesitant, asked him to step aside while they checked the car's registration. Alex complied, though his patience was wearing thin. He noticed a few neighbors whispering, some looking confused, others clearly amused by the spectacle. Karen, sensing the attention, raised her voice even louder. "He's lying! I just bought it, and he's trying to steal it from me," she shouted, theatrics escalating. The police radio crackled, and an officer returned with paperwork, confirming the car was registered to Alex. Relief should have flooded him, but Karen wasn't done. She accused him of forging documents, making wild claims that only deepened the chaos. Alex's frustration turned to determination. He realized that reasoning alone wouldn't solve this. Karen had always thrived on control and fear, and now he had to show her he wouldn't be intimidated. The battle lines were drawn, and it wasn't just about a car anymore. It was about standing up to someone who abused her power to manipulate everyone around her. Alex knew talking wasn't enough. Karen had made it clear she thrived on drama and intimidation. After the police confirmed the Mustang was his, he stepped back inside to collect evidence. Photos, registration papers, and messages where Karen had previously threatened neighbors over minor disputes. Meanwhile, Karen didn't back down. She wandered the street, calling more people, spinning her version of events to anyone who would listen. The neighborhood buzzed with gossip, and Alex realized that the real battle wasn't just about the car, it was about reputation and control. He decided to document everything, carefully recording interactions, noting who witnessed the chaos, and saving screenshots of Karen's outrageous claims. As he did, he noticed a strange mix of reactions from neighbors. Some were sympathetic, others wary, and a few clearly afraid of Karen's influence. Determined not to let her win, Alex planned his next move strategically. He understood that exposing her manipulation required patience, courage, and proof. And he was ready to fight, not just for his car, but for peace, fairness, and his right to live without constant harassment. Over the next few days, Karen's attacks became relentless. Flyers appeared in neighbors' mailboxes warning that Alex was dangerous and untrustworthy. Anonymous calls interrupted his work, each one dripping with Karen's exaggerations. Even the HOA board seemed to hesitate, unsure whether to confront her or side with the chaos she created. Alex felt the weight of isolation but refused to back down. He began documenting every incident meticulously, timestamps, photos, witnesses, everything that could prove Karen's obsession with control. One afternoon, Karen tried a new tactic. She claimed Alex was violating HOA rules with his garage setup, threatening fines and legal action. Alex, however, had anticipated this. With his organized evidence, he confronted the HOA board calmly, presenting the truth. Faces around the table shifted, some embarrassed, some wary, but Karen's furious glare told him she wouldn't surrender easily. It had become clear. This was no longer just about a car or even neighborhood disputes. It was a clash of wills, a battle of justice versus manipulation, and Alex knew he had to stay strong to reclaim not just his Mustang, but his peace of mind. Alex could feel the tides slowly turning. With careful documentation, witness statements, and neighborhood support, he prepared to confront Karen and the HOA officially. During the next board meeting, Alex calmly laid out every incident. The false 911 calls, the lies about the Mustang, the intimidation tactics, and the misinformation spread among neighbors. Murmurs filled the room as board members reviewed his evidence, clearly realizing the extent of Karen's manipulation. Karen tried to interrupt, but Alex remained composed, presenting facts without anger or exaggeration. Some neighbors even spoke up, confirming his version of events. The atmosphere shifted from tension to accountability, and Karen's confident facade began to crack. For the first time, Alex saw fear in her eyes, realizing that her tactics no longer worked. The board warned her that further harassment would have serious consequences, finally reining in her power. Alex felt a mix of relief and triumph. His patience, preparation, and courage had exposed the truth. The Mustang was safe, but more importantly, he had reclaimed his right to live without fear and proved that manipulation couldn't overpower integrity. With the HOA board finally taking action against Karen, Alex felt a weight lift off his shoulders. Peace slowly returned to the neighborhood, though the memory of the chaos lingered. Karen, stripped of her unchecked authority, retreated into quiet bitterness, no longer able to manipulate or intimidate. Neighbors who had once whispered in fear now approached Alex with apologies and support, grateful someone had stood up to the abuse. The Mustang gleamed in the garage, a symbol not just of his prized possession, but of resilience, patience, and justice. Alex realized that standing firm wasn't just about protecting material things, it was about protecting dignity, integrity, and the principle that no one could bully others into submission. He parked the Mustang with care, reflecting on how one shocking afternoon had transformed him, teaching him courage, strategy, and the power of evidence over emotion. The neighborhood had changed, too. People began to speak up, question unfair authority, and refuse to let fear rule their lives. Alex smiled, knowing that the ordeal had ended and justice, patience, and truth had won.